Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Man United agenda. Tonight, the main topic of conversation is Newcastle United. Good evening and welcome, one and all. I hope that we find you safe and protected on All Hallows Eve. And I'm very disappointed to say that neither of my guests have dressed up as grot bags this evening, but I have the pleasure of being joined by OMONDI Juma and Jeffery. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Good to see you guys. Well, at least half of you.
OMONDI.
Yeah, I love to. I'll have to call you Jeffery from now on. That's a lovely name for you, Jeff. You got to change it in your title as well. Don't you think that suits you? Jeffery, referee, big shout. And obviously, Jeff, I mean, I find you intriguing that you come all the way from US of A, Texas, and with so many sports out there, you love football and you love Man United as well. So I'm endeared to you. I love you, bro, and I'm glad you're on the channel today, and especially glad that you can always give great insight into refereeing like at the weekend, because we've had some horrible decisions this year, and it just can't make sense of it. So, big up.
Yeah, I'll just give you the laws, and then you guys can argue about it from there.
Yes, for anyone watching who doesn't know, Jeff is a qualified referee and a real killjoy about penalty decisions, as it turns out that quite a lot of them seem to be correct. But let's see who we're joined by tonight. And first up, rather shockingly, is Jeff in the comments.
Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff. I hope you're doing well. We've got Big T. Jeff, we have signed 11 new free agents I don't know nothing about. And we got Eddie Football Waffle. We have Matthew Bassett saying good evening all. We got Vincent. Hello, Vincent.
Yeah.
And he's asking, what did you guys think of last night's show? Absolutely amazing, wasn't it? As I believe that Vincent played a key part in getting Paul onto the show. So thank you so much, Vincent. Thank you for all that you do for the channel. And here's Matthew Bassett. Happy Halloween, all. Let's hope it's not a horror show against Newcastle.
Very good, Matthew.
Could be.
So, lads, this is what I've got for you tonight. We're going to have a quick chat about Rashford's party. We're going to talk about Ten Hag not having a press conference. We've been linked with a transfer target that I think is interesting. We've got some Newcastle United injuries to discuss. The big one, the solo 11. And then at the end, we're going to talk about some key matchups that will be happening tomorrow. So, first up, Rashford's party. So, a Monday. Rashford was at a party last night to celebrate his 26th birthday. It was an intimate, planned celebration in a private area of the club, which finished at around 3:30 a.m. It's unclear if Rashford stayed that long. Tyrell Malacia was also there, and it remains to be seen if Ten Hag takes a dimmer view of the situation and considers disciplinary action against the player. This is coming from Chris Wheeler at the Daily Mail, and it's followed up. Rashford's representatives and Manchester United both refused to comment when asked about the party on Saturday night. So, OMONDI, as someone who loves parties, what are you thinking when you read this?
First of all, what got me was it at a section of the club? Was it hosted by the club? Did he use some sort of area to have the party in the club, within the club, something to do with the club? If so, Ten Hag could have known that. He should be doing this independently away from the club, if that's the case. I'm not sure. I don't think that can be clarified right now. But what I would say is going 3:30 on a Sunday night, not cool, especially when you got a game on a Wednesday. I don't think that's acceptable necessarily. You can have your birthdays in the summer like the Queen. She has two birthdays, or she should have two birthdays, and one in the summer when there's time off when you can really enjoy it. As a professional footballer, you are on duty 9 months a year from August to May. You have your June, July off, And those are your times when you should be going Las Vegas partying and doing all your rubbish. I can't stand it when footballers go out and do those crazy things during a season, and especially during a time when we're in the mud and we're struggling out here. We don't want to be hearing news like this because he's been sluggish this season, and this will just add to it. It just gives him more ammo against him. And I don't want to be sitting here cussing him about his performance on the pitch and then hearing stuff like this as well. I'm not happy about this. I think Rashford, hold your horses, man. Just hold it down. No need to make a big deal about your 26th birthday. It's not even a milestone.
Thank you. And also, with the technology available to me, I've put a poll in the chat. Look how advanced we are to see if Rashford should be disciplined or not. And my man who knows a lot and enjoys discipline is Jeff. Jeff, what are you thinking about this situation?
I've got a couple of thoughts on this, and I went back and looked at. I actually went back and looked at something because I was going to comment tonight in the chat if I wasn't on. So my take is he didn't read the room. He has a mansion. He has friends who have mansions. They could have done this party somewhere and really done it up without having to go out in public. But I will go back to something Rio said recently when they were asking him about him and Vidic and when they were winning, when they were losing. And his comment was, when we were losing or playing poorly, we didn't go out. But if we were winning and we were on top, we could go out and do whatever and be caught out. And it was minor. But if Sir Alex caught us and we were out after a loss like the City loss, that was unacceptable. And I also asked somebody who played a cup of coffee professional baseball here, who actually works in my company. And I asked him, and he said, there are certain players when they reach a status and they get a new contract, they feel like they're invincible and they can do whatever they want without repercussion. He said, that sounds like this situation. So.
Did you say cup of coffee baseball?
Yeah, he played, but that's what they call it when you go up to the bigs for just a short amount of time, the big leagues.
All right, okay.
They call it having a cup of coffee.
Nice. It's always great to learn new expressions. That was me and you on Monday. For me personally, I'm not going to bring this up. I'm not. I think that.
Why not?
You started it. Come on.
All right. Okay. There was a philosopher from the Enlightenment called Jeremy Bentham who came up with the idea of an ideal prison. And the ideal prison was a circle where all the prisoners were in a circle illuminated from behind so that the guards could see them 24/7. The guards lived in a tower and the prisoners never knew if the guards were in the tower or not. And the tower was open to the public. So the idea was that the guards, they didn't know when they were going to be observed, so they would behave all the time. And the prisoners, they didn't know who was watching them, so they behaved all the time. And the idea is that this would lead to rehabilitation because you're aware of other people watching you. But what it actually led to was internalized authority, where you were just scared of people like constantly watching you, and this is where cancel culture comes from. So for me, I think that Rashford should, as a sort of 26-year-old man, he should know what's correct and what's incorrect. And for me, going to China Whites and having a party booked for a certain amount of time in a very public place, inviting City players there after a derby that I think that we were going to lose, is just an example of idiocy, and it's just asking for problems, regardless of if he was unprofessional or not. And I think that he should be looking at Jerry Bentham's panopticon as an example of how you should act when you're a public figure at a club like United, where you're meant to be inspiring and representing the community. And I don't think that going out till 3:30 in the morning with Tyrell Malacia after a loss is how you inspire anyone. Yes, Jeff.
I'm going to just ask you both. Do you think he, even with everything he's been through, Euros, the mural incident, getting his new contract, do you think he even cares?
Clearly not, because he wouldn't have gone out. I think if he's getting advice, like you made a great point about what Rio said, I think that's really key. At this time, hold it down. Just be mellow, because the fans will get on your back from this. And if he gets a backlash from this, he has to accept it because he shouldn't be doing it. If you're going to do it, do it in private and don't let anyone find out about it. But doing it and it's come out public where the Man United agenda is sniffing around and finding out about it, then, it's out of order. So I'm with you, Jeff. I think what Rio said was key. You can go out and have a bit of fun. You're supposed to. Team building, bonding, that kind of thing. But it just brings up, your imagination's going wild. You're thinking 3 a.m. on a Sunday night, you're partying. That's partying. Drinks, liquor, champagne, champagne boys, VIP areas, that kind of thing. That's what I'm picturing. And it's not cool. Especially, you shouldn't be celebrating with Man City players either, especially after they whooped your ass.
Ever. Shouldn't be ever hanging out with Man City players. Yeah. But that was a great analogy, Bath Time.
Thank you. What was Craig David doing on a Sunday, on Monday?
I don't know the song, how it goes, but... He
chilled all day on Sunday, not even
he chilled on Sunday. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm trying to remember that, yeah. So that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And what was Jeff doing on the Sunday? Jeff was going to church. And,
Jeff went to church, and then Jeff went and played soccer with the kids.
There you go. That's what Rashford should be doing if he was a good, decent man.
I disagree with both of you. I think Rashford does care. I just think that he doesn't. He's just. I think that all of them are a little bit detached from reality, as you would be being a multi-millionaire, and I think he's resting on his laurels a little bit. He thinks he's arrived with his contract, that he's one of the best players in the world, but you need to show it week in, week out. And all we've seen week in, week out is a lower tier player. Like, it's been poor this year. But let's have a look at some comments. Vincent, his first thought is, "Where's our invite, guys? Aren't we cool enough?"
No.
Big T, absolute disgrace. Should have gone home cowering under the bed after his derby performance. And he's also saying, "Yeah, poll after I asked. Glad I inspire you." We've been working on this for quite some time, and I've worked out how to do it. And we'll check the results of the poll after the comments. Lucky Singh is in the house. Hello, Lucky. Haven't seen you for a while. Eddie is saying, "I love that Rashi needs to put into tension for the rave and his blindfolded dribbling antics."
Good one.
Hey, if nobody's seen the waffle this weekend, it was excellent.
Didn't Rooney do the same after we lost to Man City? And obviously Harry Maguire, I think, was pictured out and about having some drinks. Lucky Singh is saying, "One Halloween finish with a scary face." Sounds like some dodgy voyeur weekend away, that bath time. Well, it's Enlightenment philosophy, so they're very similar. And Stephanie Griffiths is in the house. Big up, bath time. OMONDI and Jeff. Rashi should only be punished for on-field antics. Matthew Bassett. Things can only go better. Can't go backwards from the bottom of the barrel. And everyone else is really just sort of saying hello to each other. But I like Eddie's comment. Thought Rashford had some good values with feeding kids. We should remember that too. I hope Ten Hag gets his ego on side. Thanks. He maybe just needs grounding, seriously. So he's keeping the faith. And the results of the poll, after 10 votes, it's 40-60.
Wow.
Close. Rashford should not be punished. Which interesting. I thought it'd be the other way around, but I agree. I think that Rashford shouldn't be punished, but he should be reminded of his responsibilities. All right. What have we got next? A transfer target. I don't know if this is of interest to anyone else, but Trevor Chabala is set to be forced out in January, and United are considering a move for him on Monday. Is this just a nonsense, or would you be happy with him?
Sorry, but I didn't see the prep for the show. I had no idea that this was part of the news. Hell no, Trevor Chalobah, whatever his name is. He's not good enough for me. I've seen him a lot at high level for Chelsea in the Champions League. And obviously that's where you really gauge how good a player is. And I just think he's out of his element. I've seen a lot of players, like teams in for him, especially Italian teams have looked like they've been in for him recently, sniffing around. But he's not even getting a game at Chelsea at the moment. I just don't think he's got the credentials to really be in a back two. He's tall, he's wiry, he's strong. not very good on the ball, I don't think, and he can get people can get at him. I've seen it many a times when he's playing Champions League football. So I'm not a fan of his, and I'm surprised that we've been linked with this guy. How desperate are we that we want to get a player like Trevor Chalobah, who's not really getting games at Chelsea? Is it for the homegrown thing?
Yes.
That we get quota? I'm not sure. But either way, I don't think he's that good enough. And I don't think he's better than Harry Maguire. I don't think he's better than Martinez or Varane. So why are we getting a fourth, fifth choice centre-back who can't even get the Chelsea team right now? Why don't we look, they got Levi Caldwell. He's a very good player. They got Thiago, who's nearly 40. Silva, he's playing magnificent. And they brought the French dude that we were interested in from Monaco that we didn't go for in the end, who's there now. And he doesn't look very good to me at the moment. Obviously, I'm going to judge him at the end of the season. So, but this guy, Trevor Chalobah, obviously he's better than me, but I just don't think he's up to standard for us at Man United from what I've seen.
Okay.
So it's a no from me.
Jeff, Chalobah can play as a right back. He can play as a centre back. He's homegrown. He would almost certainly be a squad player, but he allows us to get rid of Sancho and one other from probably Maguire, McTominay. Do you think that this is a move the club should be making, or desperation?
No. Like Amani said, what I've seen of him, he gets turned really easily when he's playing center back, and when he was out on the fullback position, he would get run past a lot, and gave up a lot of cheap fouls too. So I think every time Bayern and Dortmund or any of the other big clubs are in there, they throw Manchester United's name in to get interest up, to get the price up. I think a lot of clubs use us for that. I think a lot of agents use us for that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we'll just have a look at what the comments are saying.
Sorry, before you do, have you seen him play BATHTIME? Have you seen this guy play much?
No, I think I saw him score a goal in his debut for Chelsea. The thing is that I imagine that he's played under 21, under 17, under 19 for England. And that group of players in that age group have been dominating for a long time at all levels. So I think whilst he wouldn't be the first name that comes to mind to get a centre back. I think that if we are looking to ship Maguire and McTominay, which obviously I think would be a mistake, we would have to be looking for an Englishman. We've also got Rasmus coming, who's not going to be 21 next season. So we've got to start looking for homegrown players, and maybe Trevor Chalobah has the ability to step up to another level. I'm not convinced, but it makes sense to me that the club are looking for easy targets to sign that are English with Premier League experience. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, fair enough.
It does. I'm hoping we bring through some of our own.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, Big T's disappointed at everyone in chat. We've got to have discipline.
Yeah.
And Eddie is saying, if we're needing centre-backs and letting Evans play, OMONDI, you should go for a trial. Bring leadership to the team, sir.
Eddie's a wise man.
Well, there's never been any big fuss with Chalobah. Nothing massively negative and nothing massively positive. Rajat is saying, get Mark Guay in. Makes more sense than Chalobah. I think the issue is it's difficult to get someone like Mark Guay in January. I think Chalobah can get done on the cheap in January, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah, they're not. No, they don't have any need for Chalobah, so he'd be an easy target to get. And going back to that other thing, he might be good in a back three.
Yeah, that's what
I mean, pretty much every team sets up with a back three in possession now, and I think that one of our problems, especially with Lindelof and Maguire, is I don't like them defending in wide areas. I think Varane's our only player that can do it. I think Martinez struggles. So Chalobah defending the channel, it seems all right to me. I'm not blown away by it. I'm not aroused or excited about it. But this does seem to be a signing that makes sense. And if Chalobah is coachable and is a good professional, I have absolutely no problems getting him into the squad, because I think we need fresh blood. I think we need a bit of youth players that have performed at the level they've played at and who are willing to listen to new ideas and new management. So I think this is an all right signing. I'm just a bit with OMONDI. I'm not sure if his quality is ever going to be enough to be a Champions League starter. And Matthew Bassett is saying, would Bayern go back in for Chalobah? They've had interest before, and Thomas Tuchel is at Bayern, so he'll know him inside out. And just looking through the comments, Stephanie Griffiths is saying his nickname is TC, Top Cat, apparently. Yeah. Couldn't resist. Now I definitely want him. Emma Kay is calling, doesn't Everton have a English young centre-back?
Braithwaite.
Yes, I'm very impressed with Braithwaite.
He's good.
And Stephanie is telling Emma that that's his name. So, interesting developments. Now, this to me is a bit of a non-story, but Ten Hag has snubbed the Manchester United press conference ahead of the Carabao clash with Newcastle. The Manchester United boss won't be speaking to reporters ahead of the Carabao Cup, and this is coming from the Newcastle Chronicle. Jeff, do you know why Ten Hag won't be speaking at a press conference tomorrow?
Yes, because they're not required to speak it for Carabao Cup unless they want to.
Perfect. OMONDI, do you think that he would have had a press conference if he'd won the derby?
Good question. I was going to say that's a wrap. Jeff just ran and gave me some insight. I didn't know that. Yeah, more than likely, you want to sort of big it up and say, yeah, we're ready to go. But I think it's a good time to hold it down. We need to be humble, get on the training field and just get things right, whatever's going on behind the scenes, if he's got any issues to deal with. So, yeah, not too bothered about this. Like you said, Bath, I think it's non-news.
Yeah. Right. And now, I just briefly, before we get to the solo 11, I just want to point something out that is happening at other clubs as well as our club, is that there is a huge injury crisis pretty much at every team in the Premier League. And obviously, Sandro Tonali isn't a physical injury, but he's on a 10-month ban. But Newcastle United will be missing Isaacs, Barnes, Anderson, Miley, Jacob Murphy for the game tomorrow at Old Trafford. Yeah, and I mean, like the two that stand out to me here, Jeff, are Isaac and Barnes. I think that they're good players. Do you know anything? Are you like? Does this make you more hopeful for tomorrow?
It does. I mean, the Sven Botman being out, that has really hurt them at the back. And then Isak and Barnes are pretty much been creating a lot of the goals. So, and then with the backup is Jacob Murphy, and now he's out too. So they're kind of short on that right side.
I like Elliot Anderson. I was thinking about him today because he used to play for Bristol City on loan, I think. And he's gone back to the club and he was smashing in the Championship. And I really haven't seen him get that sort of the minutes and the spotlight at Newcastle yet. So I was thinking that we might be up against him tomorrow, but now he's injured as well. I don't know who Lewis Miley is, by the way. That's the one player I'm not familiar with. But I would say this, Newcastle are playing really well. And the fundamentals they have is about working hard, physically and that kind of thing. But I do feel that they're being taxed here with injuries, Champions League football. I watched them lackluster display. They beat PSG at home a couple of weeks ago, and that was an amazing performance. The crowd were on it. They were on it. They were running their hearts out. But then they come up stuck against Dortmund at home, and they've got to go there now and hope for a win. So it's a tough group. They're in a group of death. And I just think it's taking its toll now. You can see on them. So I'm more encouraged by seeing this, and I would still say, though, that the fundamentals that they do have is not what we need to be coming up against right now, because it's like they will show us up for our lack of desire that I feel that we've got in the moment, lack of confidence that we seem to have, and a good, hard running team like Newcastle, regardless of these players missing. Isaac might not be playing, but they've got Callum Wilson. And that's someone you don't want to be coming up against, for example.
We'll get on to him later on Monday. He's got a special
do you guys say something else about Newcastle, just quickly? I rate them as a club. I rate them not just now, but in general. I was watching a Ginola documentary, and his spell that he had with them was unbelievable. That was an exciting side they had. And every time I think about Newcastle, now they're getting back to that sort of level again, I always refer back to how good they were that season, and how unfortunate they were not to win the title.
Well, the one thing that always annoys me about Ginola is that in the treble year, he won the PFA Player of the Year.
That was a quiz question I was going to drop, because I heard that one recently as well. But that's how good he was at Spurs, I think, and that's how good he was that season.
Yeah, I mean, he was a wonderful player, lovely hair. I actually really wanted him at United, but Jeff, I know you got something to say, but just before we get to that, I just want to go through some comments. Lucky Singh wants 5 different players tomorrow. We'll get to the solo 11 next. Who's available for the game against Newcastle? I don't think we've got anyone coming back, but Kobe Mainu is playing right now, so he won't be available for tomorrow. But encouraging.
The team sheet that they put out said he wasn't on.
Well, he's in the squad for the reserve game.
So they added him because the reserve sheet that came out didn't have his name on it.
This is what I saw on Twitter. Might be incorrect. Sounds incorrect. Stephanie Griffiths is saying we've got 12 likes. There's 17 people watching, so maybe we can do a bit better. Lucky Singh is continuing his one-man emoji crusade to get rid of the Glazers, saying criminals out. And Box, happy birthday Box, is pointing out no one will protest at Old Trafford. Stephanie Griffiths wants to play the same team that defeated Palace in the Carabao Cup if all are fit and available. Rajat has no idea what's going on with the youth team. Big T, just to bring it back to the press conference, has an interesting point, saying press conferences are an opportunity to communicate with the fans, shows his lack of thought towards us. It's an interesting interpretation. Where Emma's going, good on him for cancelling the presser, not letting the journalists ask their dumbass questions. Should cancel pressers way more.
Manu did play tonight.
He did play. Okay. So a couple of comments there. And Jeff, I know that you had a point that you wanted to raise about Newcastle United.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a big game coming up at the weekend. And the talk all over Sports Talk today was that they didn't know if they were going to put out a strong team for this because of what's coming, because of the next 2 matches that they have and the injury list that they already have. So we'll see.
To counter that, Jeff, I do think that we've denied them. They haven't won a trophy, a domestic trophy, for so long. We denied them last season in this same competition.
Sure.
So I think the players and the manager will be stirring them up. The fans will be up for it, saying, let's go to Old Trafford while they're on their knees and get some revenge for what for denying them a trophy last season. I don't think they've won a domestic cup for maybe since the 50s or 60s, Melbourne days or something ridiculous.
That was the European Cup, wasn't it? It was the Fairs Cup.
Really? Did it? Okay. Newcastle won the Fairs Cup, did they?
Yeah, I think that's the last trophy they've had. I mean,
wow. So it's a long time, isn't it? They're overdue. Such a big club.
Yeah, Box is getting stuck into their fan base, and I couldn't agree more. I've been St James's quite a lot. I've lived up there. They really remind me of Liverpool in the 90s, where they're very emotional, and it's like they're quite childlike, their attitude towards football. I would think that tomorrow that we'll see what we saw at the cup final, where they'll make a massive sort of like display and like sort of try and be super fans. And then hopefully they're all whinging on social media the next day about how they should have had a 3-0 win because of their flags. But it's the time everyone's been waiting.
Before you go there,
it's the big one.
I just want to say, I was at work today and guess who popped in to see me?
Was it Solo?
It was Solo. Unbelievable. Looking smart, coming off the rain. His train got delayed or something like that. So he jumped off the train and came to see me specifically. And I was playing pool with one of the kids. And he knocked on the window, and I turned around. I was like, "Oh my god!" I should have seen the love heart in my eyes. I went out, gave him a big hug. We spoke for a bit. He bigged up everyone on the channel, yourself, Bathtime, Jeff, Mr. B, and he's doing fine. He looks $1 million. So big up to Solo.
Excellent.
Big up to Solo. Let's see if people are still bigging up Solo when they see his solo 11. So, are you ready, Jeff?
I'm ready.
Are you ready, Amondo?
Nervous, but let's do it.
All right, chat. Let's see what Solo's got for us. It is quite wild. So we have Anana in goal, Reguilon, Maguire, Evans, Delo, Hannibal, Amrabat, Mount, Anthony, Garnacho, Hoyland. So McTominay, Bruno, Ericsson, Rashford, and Lindelof have all been dropped from the derby. Thoughts, gentlemen, and thoughts in chat, please. Start with you, Jeff. Happy?
Who's at the 10? Is that Mount?
That's Mount.
Oh, this is the team I picked.
The Jeff 11 is the solo 11.
It is. I had to put my prediction in today, and this is the squad I picked.
Talk us through your thinking.
Okay. Evans and Maguire, because they do play a lot of crosses into the box. And they've actually been a fairly strong partnership so far when they play within themselves. Again, like you said, if they get extended to the outside areas, who knows? I like having a real left back and Reguilon back in and Lindelof out. And the midfield is just screaming for activity. Hannibal box to box, Amrabat sitting in with him as a partner, and Mount creating from the 10. And we have to see something fresh up top. A lot of motion, a lot of action. And I may have even switched Anthony and Garnacho just so we get some crosses in.
Okay. OMONDI, are you happy with this?
Yes and no. I think this is an opportunity to play one or two fringe players or players that are deserving of it. And I think he's put Hannibal in based on that. He's deserving. He's played really well lately and he deserves a start. Garnacho deserves a start. But then you're dropping players like Bruno, and I don't know if that's wise because, look, if he loses, like you said, a great quote from BATHTIME over the weekend and yesterday in the aftermath of our defeat, he was saying this next coming week is crucial. If we go out the Carabao Cup and then we lose in the Champions League as well, the job is looking dangerously fragile for Ten Hag. So he has to go into this game with a winning lineup. And I just think this is a bit too lackadaisical. I know Jeff said it's a dynamic midfield, and I like the idea. The way you explained that, Jeff, is good. But I just think Bruno has to play. That's the only issue for me at this moment. Bruno has to play, and maybe Varane should play as well instead of Evans with Maguire, just for a bit more security. Because I just think, I know you said they're hitting a lot of crosses and they've got a big team. They do, obviously, with the left back, but Botman's out. I just think that with Varane, you can't not play him because Evans and Maguire get up against a hard-running Newcastle side. I just think you need someone like Varane who's got a bit of pace, is quick, and can go with their striker, Callum Wilson, who I do respect. He's big, strong, bustly, and he runs the channels really well. And as BATHTIME was saying earlier, the only person who could shepherd people out in those sort of wide areas is Varane. So that, for those reasons, I put Varane in the side with Bruno. Apart from that, I'm quite happy.
Happy to drop Rashford?
Yeah. I think Garnacho has to play. So however you incorporate that, I think Garnacho needs to start. There's not much you're losing out on. What about you, BATHTIME? Are you slapping up Solo next time you see him?
All right. If you just take care of the comments for me, like starring things. I have certain issues with this team that we'll go into later, which is that since the Arsenal game, no team has pressed Manchester United. They've all backed off us because they know that our problems are in second phase play. I don't think that Newcastle will take that route. I think that they are a full-on pressing team and will come at us relentlessly for 30 minutes either side of the half. I think that Reguilon and Varane did not start against Manchester City because we were a bit worried about their press. I am quite concerned about them isolating Evans, Maguire and Reguilon in the press. I'm not sure how good Hannibal and Amrabat are going to be against their physical midfield. And I have similar concerns about the defensive responsibility of Garnacho that we'll get into later. So I'm not sure I agree with this team, but I understand that people want changes and that a lot of players that started at the weekend don't deserve to play. But enough from me. I'm going to read some comments, if that's all right.
Mhm.
So first up, Rajat is saying, nice solo, mate. That's a 6.5 lineup. Lucky Singh wants to see Mount, Palestri, Martial, Delo, Region, Hoyland and Hannibal because he wants fresh players tomorrow. Big T is in love with Solo for dropping Bruno and Rashford. What a shame the greatest mind of this channel is no longer here.
Good one.
Yeah. Right team, in my opinion, but would play Young over Region.
Young players.
Young players, right. I thought Ashley Young, who had taken a heartbeat. Stephanie Griffiths is saying, who's the best Solo? Our Solo, Han Solo, or Napoleon Solo?
Good one, Steph.
Who's Napoleon Solo? Is he in
Is that
Escape from Precinct 13 or something?
He's a spy.
Oh, okay. So Box wants Bayinda in goal, Delo, Maguire, Varane, Region, Hannibal, Mount, Palestri, Garnacho, Hoyland, Martial. So he's going for a 4-4-2. Rajat saying he's probably have to win one game out of two, if not both games, referring to Ten Hag. Double A, good to see you. Delo, Varane, Maguire, Regas, Casemiro, Mainu, Mount, Hoyland, Martial, and then either Rashford or Garnacho. I'm not sure that Casemiro is available. Rajat wants to see a very similar lineup, but with Garnacho in for Hoyland, for what's his face, Martial. Box is saying we're going to lose anyway, so I'd rather lose with the Utes.
Utes.
The Utes.
Yeah.
My cousin Vinny.
You can tell how comfortable I am with that word. Stephanie Griffiths wants Alana, Delo, Region, Varane, Evans, Hannibal, Amrabat, Mount, Palestri, Martial, and Garnacho. Now, I have identified some key matchups for this game, and I would like you in the comments to talk me through them. The first one we have here is Callum Wilson versus Harry Maguire. Jeff, what are you thinking before we get on to Mrs. Maguire?
Well, if the referees call the match like they did against City, he's going to give up a few PKs, holding him. But if they let it play like they normally do, I think he'll match up okay as long as it's not open field one-on-one. Open field one-on-one, Wilson's going to run right past him.
Yeah.
So you're worried about Wilson's pace against Maguire?
If he gets him away from the protection, yes.
Well, that means that we have to have the ball up the pitch. I'm not so sure about that.
We'll find out.
But Box is saying that that's a great matchup with both in form and we're agendites. Okay, is that the collective noun for our viewers? Agendites. I quite like that.
Sweet.
Agendaites. I would say agendaites.
Okay. Now, on Monday, I deliberately picked a picture with Maguire as the captain. What are you thinking of this matchup?
That's what I'm thinking about the picture. His chest is so big and swelled up right now, and his that proud chin-up look. It's out angling in the background. He's so powerful. Look at that picture. Proud Englishman. Great player, Harry Maguire. Great matchup as well. I agree with Box. Callum Wilson, I think, is physically a beast. But what he doesn't do, so what I don't see him doing so much, is get backing onto a defender, pinning a defender, getting the ball, and wrestling with guys. He likes to spin off and not get touched. So his movement is really good. So wherever I'm thinking, I'm expecting like an old school war with the stripes, Alan Shearer style, backing his arse back into Maguire. I don't think we're going to do much of that. So Maguire needs to keep on his toes and keep Callum Wilson away, facing the other way. All these runs, just have those sort of fish eyes and make sure you keep an eye on this guy and communicate well. And I think you can manage him because Callum Wilson's quick, but not quick enough if you're positioned right in the right areas to sort of block things out. I think Maguire wins this duel quite easily against
easily.
Yeah, easily. Because
he's one of the form strikers in the Premier League at the moment. Amonde.
I think Ollie Watkins. Sorry, he's similar to Callum Wilson. but a bit more oomph, a bit more speed, a bit more rapidness about him. That's what fears me. That's what worries me. With Callum Wilson, I think it's manageable. So I'm not concerned too much with Callum Wilson against Maguire. And it's not necessarily Callum Wilson against Maguire. It's Callum Wilson against the defence. Maguire's got to be the one leading the defence and organising it in a way where Callum Wilson doesn't get opportunities. And I think we're capable of doing that.
Okay. So the comments, obviously, Lucky Singh is saying that he's losing on pace to Wilson. But football is not a race. There's more to it than that. Emma Kay is saying that Maguire hasn't done a lot of hugging on the pitch lately.
Good eyes, good observation.
Probably Omondi's not there. And Raja is saying Maguire did okay versus City. Jeff, do you think if Maguire dyed his hair ginger, he might be able to play Tintin in the next film?
Absolutely.
Very
brilliant. Maybe that's the career change he needs. And Box wants to see Plesrio Garnacho run rings about 6'8", Dan Byrne. And Rajat is saying pace isn't everything, Lucky. So, Jeff, you'll go in for a Maguire win?
As long as he keeps his protection in like he does in England, yeah.
All right. This is the next one.
Brilliant.
Great picture, bath time.
Thank you.
He looked crazy. Oh my god.
I've had to cut out his friends. So this is Garnacho's.
Is that the one with the
mini Messi, mini Ronaldo?
Yeah. Pick up Garnacho. It's having his own mini Ballon d'Or. So this is Trippier versus Garnacho, and I am more concerned about the defensive side of Garnacho here. We know that Trippier is probably the best right back on form in the Premier League. In one game, I think he recently had 4 assists. Is this a concern, Omondi, that one of the best crossers in the Premier League is coming up against a relative novice?
Yeah, I see where you go with that. I think Garnacho needs to be on the ball tomorrow. And not just literally on the ball, but on the ball with his tactics and getting back and defensively sound. I really do rate Trippier. I think since he's come back from Spain, he's just been magnificent. I watched the game against PSG, and I was thinking, okay, let's see what he got against Mbappe and Dembele. And he was ferocious. He was on it. Really, in tight areas, when the ball's played to him, bam, good control, good delivery, even a bit of sugar sometimes to sort of... prove what a great player is. I think anyone watching him around Europe say that's a player that we need to keep. And I think Diego Simeone is right to sign him because he's just a magnificent fullback. Big respect for this guy. This is like youth against experience. I think experience will win this duel. I just think Garnacho, as good as he is, he's coming up against experienced master of his craft in Trippier, and that's giving Trippier a lot of respect because I do rate him that highly. Garnacho just needs to try and send him the other way. Don't allow him to go forward so much. Give him some worries where he has to sit back and focus on defending, and then we might it may be even up the battle a little bit.
Okay, and Jeff, since you picked the solo 11, Garnacho's obviously going to have midfield support, like to double up on this side. Are you concerned about this, and how would you manage this?
Okay, so the last 2 times I've seen Garnacho out for more than 10 minutes, he seems to be doing much better on his defensive duties. He even did a couple of tactical fouls to stop some promising attacks. He seems to be marking his man. He's not getting lost in space when he has to come all the way back to the area. He's been supporting Reguilon when they were both in at the same time. I think his defense is much better than Rashford's at this moment, where we see Marcus just take time off. Now, Marcus did try to defend in the City game for like 15 minutes, and then he just lost interest. But I think Garnacho's going to do okay, but Trippier's a wily old fox. I mean, he's going to get him a time or two.
And do we think that the other way round, that Garnacho has got the experience, the tricks, the knowledge to to really get at Trippier?
No. If
Okay.
you're doing your homework and you're Trippier, you kind of know what Garnacho's going to do. Where Garnacho catches people out is with his pace. I just think Trippier's going to lead him. Say, yeah, you're going to come inside. I'm going to dictate to you where you're going to run, and you're just going to run into one of my midfielders or centre backs, and we're going to eat you up. And it's going to be a bit frustrating. This is where Garnacho needs to show a bit of class and pop the ball around and give and go, that sort of thing, to get the ball played into him rather than getting the ball trying to dribble at people.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Whoever's in the 10, the 8, and Reguilon, they're going to have to pass and go to get past Trippier.
Yeah, and let's see what the comments are saying. Like, I quite like this one from Box when they were talking about pace, that Sheringham could do the 100 meters in 10 seconds in his mind. So hang on a second.
It was actually 9.48 seconds, which is a world record from Teddy Sheringham. What a player he was.
Yeah, a great player. And Emma Kay is... she doesn't like the look of this matchup. Lucky Singh is saying that he's a giant at 5'7". Pop him in. And then one for you, Omondi. It's my
Big
favourite.
Up! Yeah, man.
Look at his curtains. Big up his curtains. Amazing.
Can I just say, Darren Tubbs, what a star, what a great guy he is. And yeah, enough respect to you. My name's Yabba as well. Guys call me Yabba. Maybe I'll change my name back to Yabba on this channel. But yeah, Liverpool fan, and we're always bumping heads. But I've got enough respect for Darren Tubbs. And go and check out his Facebook page, KIM, Keep It Moving. All football banter, and it's great fun.
Well, Rajat is saying, why not try Anthony as an inverted left winger, possibly to deal with Trippier as he's defensively stronger, which isn't the worst thing that I've ever heard.
That's what I was saying. I would like to see them actually on the wings that they are strong-footed to, and that was one of the reasons was Anthony against Trippier, I think, is a much better matchup.
And Ed Mayhem is saying, do we think that Garnacho will last the 90 minutes? Not for me, Ed. I think that if Garnacho starts, Rashford would come on. And Double A is saying, Rashi with a brace and man of the match performance to silence critics for his outgoing shenanigans.
Big up Double A.
Emma K, I do think with Garnacho's inexperience, he can catch them out as he's not known. However, there's a lot of good experience in that United squad, in that Newcastle United squad. And just finally, boys, now that we've sort of brought up the importance of Trippier to Newcastle, are you happy sticking with Garnacho, or does Rashford maybe get in ahead of him in your estimations here?
I'll go first. I think if he plays Rashford, he's showing the world he's not punishing him.
Yeah, good point there, Jeff. I think Garnacho is a young superstar, signed a new contract. He needs to get games. If he doesn't start playing in the cup games, he's going to start moaning and frowning. He needs to play games, and I think this is a great opportunity for him to play at home, especially. If it was away, maybe a different story. But we're playing at home. The fans will be behind him, and he can go out there and be electrifying.
Brilliant. Let's see who's next up in the duels. It's Reguilon versus Anthony Gordon, and I must confess I was very tempted to use a picture of friend of the channel, Reese, as I think he looks he looks identical to Anthony Gordon. So big up, Reese, if you're watching.
I've seen Anthony Gordon coming from the left a lot of the time. That's why I've been seeing him play. But regardless, Anthony Gordon's been on fire. Enough respect. Great signing. I mean, English player, 50 million from Everton. Everton produced some good players, don't they, over the years?
Yeah,
he's
John
one
Stones.
of them. I watched him for England under 21s. Outstanding. Probably one of the best players in the tournament. Watched him against PSG. Obviously, that was a great game. Go and check that out again. I keep referring to that game, but it was a fantastic game, and it's an elite game as well. And he was magnificent again. Direct, strong, hard-headed, tough, northern, just a really, really effective, good player. And I think no frills. You're not going to get no frills with this guy. He's direct. He's confident right now. And I think he will give anybody trouble, whether it's Reguilon, whether it's Wan-Bissaka, whether it's Dalot, whoever it is that he comes up against, even Malacia, he's someone you have to be mindful of. Just keep him on his, trying to get him on the left foot, and just know that he's going to be running at you all day. You've got a really good, hard session in store. So if Reguilon does buck up against him, it's going to be a tough battle. But I would say this, Reguilon is not some weak little Spanish waiter. He's a tough, strong guy. He's shown me already that he's prepared to battle and to win duels as well. You can't, and he's quick off the mark. So this would be if they come up against each other, it could be really interesting. But I think in these cases, you have to show people on the weaker side, and you dictate as a defender, like I said before, where they go. Because these are the battles. Get to them close, like Malacia. So you need to have a bit of Malacia in this. Before the ball gets to them, get to them close, be in their face, like that, and don't let them turn out. If they do turn out, then instruct them where you want them to go. And that's, I think, with Reguilon, he's got that experience. Maybe he can do that. But I just think they'd be on opposite sides. Good duel, though.
So Jeff, this duel is more. This is more about the Newcastle United wingers versus our fullbacks. As Newcastle United play an incredibly aggressive and venomous into-out press, meaning that Gordon and whoever plays on the left or the right will be targeting Dalot and Reguilon. And in recent matches, I've noticed that our left side flank is getting hard targeted by every press. So we have Reguilon here because he's going to be the spare man and he's got to get us out of the press. So what do you think of this duel? Is it important, unimportant?
Oh, it's very important. And again, Reguilon, he'll get stuck in. If he wins the battle, he has to have an outlet. If it's Amrabat, if it's Casemiro, whoever they put in the CDM, and whoever the 8 is going to have to show for the ball to give him relief.
Yeah, I agree. And the comments, first of all, Vincent is saying, I can see a bit of Reece in him. He's just missing them glasses. But Big T is saying that Gordon is their player I fear most for this one. I don't disagree. Gordon's alive. Which movie, Amondo?
Gordon's alive!
You are the Brian Blessed of this channel in more than one way.
That's a good one, Steph. Brilliant.
Emma Kay is saying, just bother Gordon a bit, and he's going to get frustrated and kicking the ball out of play or to us. Easy.
He does get frustrated easily.
Yeah, young player. But they could probably say the same about Garnacho, to be honest. Reguilon will pocket Flash Gordon. I like it. Big T is saying, start your fastest players first, get the lead, and set down the gauntlet. Radchat is saying, Liverpool fan Anthony Gordon is going to go home. I think that's probably one of his plans. And what fullback's bath time? Well, Reguilon is one there. Are you saying Amonde is hairy bath time? No, it's more about the blessed bit.
Can I just say, yes. I used to play top trumps with characters like Marvel or DC characters, top trumps, which was cards, and you had to put them together, say who's better. So I love this game. I love having these little duels that you set up.
Me too.
Really, enough respect for putting this out there. It's really exciting.
Okay,
having to choose.
Well, I've got a double for you next.
Wicked.
It's the midfield.
Loving this.
All right, we got Magebury and Hannah and Amrabat versus Longstaff and Gramarish, and I am slightly concerned about the power and the technique in the midfield for Newcastle United. Jeff, do Magebury and Amrabat have enough to deal with these two physically?
This was one of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking about would it be better to have Casemiro and Amrabat in a double pivot or have a strong box-to-box 8. And the reason I went with Hannibal on mine is because I think you have to have somebody that stays with Longstaff. Longstaff works the whole 90 minutes when he plays the full match. Mm-hmm. You have to have somebody that can pace him, and I think Hannibal can. As far as Gramarish and Amrabat needs to run him into support. When I see people play well against Bruno Gramarish, what they do is they push him to one side or the other. When they let him play freely down the middle, it doesn't matter who's marking him. He'll connect the passes and he'll make dynamic plays. But when I've seen middle of the field, I've seen other midfielders push him either to the left or to the right. They get support from their back, their center back or their fullback or their other midfielder. He becomes less effective.
Okay, I think that's a good analysis. Omondi, are you concerned?
Not concerned. I'm just looking forward to it. I'm really excited now. Proper duel, these two. Amrabat, I want to put some respect on his name. Give him more time. I saw him watching the other day, and I do feel a bit sorry for him. But I think it's getting to the stage now where he's having to show he's working hard. He realised that at his age, at this big club, it's showtime. And I think he's going to start stepping up. What a great duel. I mean, Bruno Ramirez, whatever his name is, a fantastic player. Longstaff is our McTominay. Is their McTominay, sorry.
Yeah.
Big, strong running guy and physical as well. So you're forgetting about the guy, Joe Lilton, as well, who I think has been brilliant for them, big and strong as well. So we're always, regardless of what pairing we come up against or what pairing we start with, we know we have to be at the races. I think with young Hannibal, it'd be a great experience for him to play against this side. And I think, like Jeff's saying, he's got the running power and the strength and the determination to sort of hang around and stick with these guys and put a foot in, which is what you need. And what it is, this battle will be key to obviously every game as you play. You play midfield, BATHTIME, but every game is key for midfield. If you control the midfield, then you'll be all right. And I think if we control the game by bringing the ball out, getting Amrabat and Medri on the ball, then we can avoid any confrontations. It's not going to say it's be like a bam clashing like that. I think you can, if you're smart with how you play, which I think Amrabat can be, and which we've got to start seeing very soon, by getting the ball deeper and then popping it around without the pressure around him of having young players around as well, who will respect him, will pass him the ball back. And I think there's been a bit of disrespect towards him. I've seen opportunities where he should be getting the ball, he's not be getting it. I just think people will be bypassing him, saying, "Nah, you ain't ready yet." I think with younger players like Hannibal around him, he will get more to play, and he will be have that responsibility to dictate the play. And then no one will get near him, because once you start popping it around, no one's going to rush you after 15 minutes, because they think, what's the point in running after him? He's just going to pop it off. And then that's how you get control of the game. So I'm saying the Reds are going to win this duel in midfield.
Oh, okay. Well, the comments are saying is, first off, Raja is saying Hannibal is the press machine. I'm intrigued by this because there are two main presses in the midfield. One is just simply man marking and then arriving as the player takes his touch. And the other one is a pressing trigger where if someone plays, basically if they play a 90, if they play the ball straight back, you can then chase it down. Only Bruno does that. I'm more interested in how Hannibal can deal with the press and the aggression that will be coming at him, because if he does play, he's got a reputation as a wild one, and I think that Longstaff will be all over him. That he'll know what type of toilet paper he uses at the end of the game. I really expect them to be up. Lucky Singh has got sources that says that Casemiro is back. I'm not sure about that, but Big T says Hannibal is the only bright spot we have. Optimus Prime would be proud. I think that references the Matrix, which was originally the sort of the Allspark or Saturn and Transformers. We'll have to ask.
That's Transformers.
Hannibal is going to murder them like his sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. Thanks, Vincent. Stephanie is saying good battle tomorrow night, but I'm not confident. And Big T is saying, is closing down mistaken for pressing sometimes? Yes. Maybe we'll do something again on pressing. It's very misunderstood what a press is. But it's when you close someone down, it's about denying them space and time. A press is a more coordinated thing to win the ball back, so your players are in specific positions because you're going for a specific area. So when we talk about Reguilon versus Gordon, they will be targeting Reguilon tomorrow. That's where they want to be winning the ball. And speaking of the Newcastle United press, I've got two men that I think are going to be key tomorrow. Jeff, do you think that having seen Rasmus Højlund dealing very well with Diaz in the derby, controlling the ball, that maybe the plan will be to go long from Onana with his fighting fists to Rasmus Højlund. And is this a good thing?
If we're getting hard pressed, this is a good counter to that. And again, Onana seems much more confident. His balls when he was unconfident long seem to be going everywhere. But in the last 2 matches, he's been putting it right on people. He's been putting it on their feet in stride. And it's, if him and Højlund can hook up like that, good things will happen.
OMONDI, is this a tactic we should be looking at?
It's an option. Definitely an option. I mean, look, I prefer us to play the ball out from the back, get more control, and don't panic. Just be patient. Play like Louis van Gaal, if that means slow it right down, especially against this team. Take the sting out of the game and just dominate and slowly build it up and just get that confidence, especially in the midfield. If we start playing in midfield and then get up to the halfway line, play football in their half, and I think get Amrabat on the ball as well. Obviously, if the option's there and you need to go long, we couldn't. The last couple of seasons we struggled with that. We're going long and we couldn't win the ball. Now with Rasmus up there, I was really impressed too the way he held the ball against with people right on his back from Man City the other day. I thought, yeah, go on, that's what you need. And not just that, he's got a nice little dink touch to pop it off. He chests it down, he leans into someone, chests it down, and then he's willing to pop it. He's not running, turning into trouble, that kind of thing. He plays the way he's facing, makes it very simple. And I think he's going to be more and more effective as it goes on. Once he starts to get to the pace of the English game and up against defenders that he's familiar with. Because obviously, as a striker, you don't know what certain people have got. And, when you speak to strikers, like post-career and that kind of thing, you ask them who is the best defender they came up against. A lot of them would say not guys physical, but guys who would read the game really well. And they didn't know where they were coming from. So you might be feeling for someone like our boy Rasmus does, but you get some defenders who won't have any contact with you and you won't know where they are. Suddenly they come from the side and pinch you. So it seems like he likes to feel defender on it. And so it'd be really interesting how he develops his game and how he feels about the defenders he comes up against after a whole season in English football. And he'll be able to gauge, all right, I've got this guy comes from the side. This guy doesn't get physical with me. He's got to learn. And it's a hard game to learn in the Premiership.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you for your score predictions. Personally, I'm going for an optimistic 2-1 in a wild and very fun game. And I'd love people in the comments to put their score predictions in as well. Jeff, what are we looking at tomorrow?
I'm going to go 3-2 again. It's what the City score should have been if we were finishing our dinner.
I think it's going to be a low scoring. I think we're going 1-0 for Man United. I'm also saying it's going to be regardless of the pressure and everything, I'm just really looking forward to watching the game. Because for one, might see some different players playing. We'll be seeing Newcastle, how they manage the game with all the issues they've got with Champions League and how much they prioritise it as well. If they're up for it, then yeah, great game. If they're not up for it, then they'll be playing other players who will be fighting for places. And I just think on the Old Trafford pitch, nothing better to do on a Wednesday evening than to tune into Mr. Bean's live watch along and watch the game and enjoy it.
And
what's the weather going to be?
Raining. Always a safe one. And there will be a live reaction show 10-15 minutes after the game finishes. But Vincent, who I suspect will be at the game, is going 5-0 for Manchester United. Stephanie Griffiths thinks 2-1 United. Lucky Singh has gone for 10-32 or 1-0 3-2. And we've got Double A. He wants 3-1 United win. Exactly the same as Rajat. He's got 3-1. And Big T has gone 4-1 Newcastle if no changes made by the manager. And Lucky Singh, he wants 3-2 to Manchester United. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone who's watched and listened to the show. We really hope that you enjoyed that. We're trying to get a bit more pictures and make it visually more interesting for you. So, leave your comments with any suggestions or anything that you'd like to see in future shows. And unless on Monday we have any other business.
Just big up to Jeff, man. It's great having you on the show. I rarely do shows with Jeff. I don't know if you guys are trying to separate us or something, but I'm glad to be on with you, Jeff. Great teamwork today.
Glad to be on with you too, Omondi. It just seemed with work, the only time I could get on was Friday takeaway. So I'm glad we could do it. Right now, we have a time difference because we haven't changed our time yet, which is putting you at a little bit better advantage time-wise for me right now.
Oh, good.
Well, it's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
Good night from me.